Hi, this is Sweet June 2010. How's everybody doing? I'm doing okay. I just going through some things right now. Um, it is what it is. Um, what I want to talk about is I've been doing videos talking about addressing the young ladies, talking about being a single mom and having kids out of wedlock and all this type of stuff. This video I want to address to the young men out there. I want to just have a talk with the young men. And basically what I want to talk about is um, various different videos that I've looked at on YouTube. I noticed that there's a common trend that the men have a tendency when they're talking about single motherhood and when they're talking about children out of wedlock, particularly in the black community, they have the tendency to blame the woman. They have the tendency to put the blame on the woman and say, oh, it's her fault and all this kind of stuff. A man shouldn't have to be forced to be a father if he doesn't want to be and all this kind of stuff. And I noticed that a lot of guys on YouTube are talking about that. I want to address that. I have two sons. Now, the way that I have raised my sons, the way that I have taught my sons, and that I believe in personal responsibility. I believe in taking personal responsibility. I don't prescribe to the theory that if two people have sex and they have a baby, that simply because there's more birth control options out there for the female, then it's on her. She should have made sure that she was protected. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I believe that both people should take responsibility. I have two sons, and there's no way that I'm going to tell them if they get a young lady pregnant that I'm going to tell them, well, she should have kept her legs closed or she should have took better precautions. If that's on her. I mean, what message does that send? What message am I sending to my sons if I prescribe to that belief? I'm sending them the message that they shouldn't take responsibility, or they don't have the responsibility. Yes, they do have a responsibility, because you laid there just as much as she did. And I happen to believe that because we live in a world where we have a fatal disease out there, AIDS, that can kill you, then all people, regardless of whether you're male or female, should take responsibility for their bodies. So I notice a lot of guys on YouTube are talking about that. They're talking about, if a woman gets pregnant, then that's on her and all this type of stuff, and she shouldn't be going after a guy for the child support and all this type of stuff. I don't believe in that. I believe in personal responsibility. I believe that a man should take responsibility for his body. If you don't want to have children out of wedlock, you don't want to have children by this particular person. First of all, why are you having sex with her? For starters. Why are you having sex with someone that you don't want to even to have a relationship with? And I don't want to hear this, well, guys will be guys. Well, despite the popular myth, women like sex just as much as men do. So I'm sorry, I'm not accepting that as an argument. I think I have an issue with all the blame being put on the female when it clearly takes two people to make a baby. So I have two sons, and I'm going to tell you the story about my granddaughter. I found out that I had a granddaughter on Facebook. I assumed eventually one day I was going to become a grandmother. I didn't expect to become a grandmother in my 40s. Um, and I guess I never really gave it much thought, but I thought that it would go a little bit differently than the way it went down. I found out on Facebook that I was a grandmother. The young lady sent me a message and said, could you talk to your son about getting a DNA test? I can't keep doing this on my own. But that was verbatim, kind of basically what the message was. And I was like, what? I told my son, get in here now. And I'm like, what's going on here? What is she talking about? And she told me the situation and everything. Okay, now he proceeded to go take the DNA test, administered by the court, sent to the court. The paperwork came back that, 999 point whatever. I think it was an 8 or something at the end. And it's the probability that you're the father. And I was like, well, you are the father. More important. Anyway, by that time, the child was almost 2 years old. So I didn't get the opportunity to meet my granddaughter until she was almost 2 years old. I missed the whole birth. I missed the birth. I missed being able to hold her in my arms for the first time, and I missed all that. And so one day I'm not a grandmother. Next thing you know, I find out I'm a grandmother. Okay. Now I love my granddaughter. I love her to pieces. Now that I know that she's my granddaughter. But I told my son at the time, I said, well, you didn't find out this is your child. It's time for you to man up and take responsibility. Because I always told him even before that happened, I said, and I warned him about going out there and making a child, outside of marriage. I said, you don't want child support to be in your check and all this kind of stuff. And, and I encouraged him to wait till marriage, do it God's way and wait till marriage. You'll be better off. Of course he didn't listen. They never listen. So, so I told him, I said, it's time to man up and take responsibility. And, go ahead and help her. That child is yours too. So, and I taught my sons, both of my sons, I taught my sons personal responsibility. Yes, personal responsibility. He lay there just as much as she did. So the child is just as much his responsibility as it is hers. Now, he's doing a great job. He's being a great father. He's stepped up to the plate. I'm very proud of him. He did step up to the plate. He's doing a good job. He's paying child support. And in addition to paying child support, he's, helping, he buys the child whatever she needs. He takes and he spends time with her. And that's great. He's doing a good job. I'm really proud of him. But that's what I'm saying. This theory of putting all the blame on the female and saying, oh, well, that's on her. She should have better protected herself. And I don't want to be a father. Well, if you don't want to be a father, then why would you lay there unprotected? There is condoms out there that you could have used, but you made the choice to have unprotected sex with this woman. So now you have to face the consequences of, this, you had a child. So I just don't want to hear that. I think that it takes two people to lay down and make a baby. I have a saying, and that saying is, it takes two irresponsible people to make a baby, because if at least one of you was being responsible, then the baby wouldn't be here. So that's my theory. It takes two irresponsible people to make a baby. So, I just feel like, and I noticed a trend amongst his friends, some of his friends as well, and the people that he knows, the young men around his age, that, okay, they're having babies by women that they don't want a future with. He doesn't want a future with this young lady, And I noticed that's a trend that they're having children by women, young ladies that they don't want a picture with. And I'm like, why are you having sex with these young ladies? If you don't want to have a relationship with them, why are you having sex with them? And that's the thing. Guys, males have to take personal responsibility. You have to take personal responsibility, because what if that young lady didn't give you a baby and she gave you AIDS? Then what? Would you be blaming her? No, you got to blame yourself, because you didn't put a condom on, you didn't use protection. So it's not just the woman's responsibility. And this theory of, I shouldn't have to be forced to be a father. No, you knew when a man lays with a woman and you have sex with a woman, you know that that's a possibility that you can become a father. And she should not be forced to. In this country, they don't have forced abortions, so you can't tell a woman to have an abortion, because it's her body, and that's a baby that's being sucked out of her body. That's a consequence that she has to live with for the rest of her life, knowing that she took an innocent life. And so why should she do that? Why should she have to do that? Because you're being selfish and you don't want the responsibility. So I just think that, if like I told my son, you got to man up to take responsibility. I believe in personal responsibility. And I believe that if you lay with a woman and you get her pregnant, then you need to man up and you need to take responsibility. If she decides to bring this child forth, then you need to take responsibility. It's no, these men on YouTube crying about, a man shouldn't be forced to be a father. Well, you should have thought about that before you laid there. If you at a certain age, then common sense will tell you, well, if I get this girl pregnant, then she has a baby. Well, I don't want that to happen. Let me use protection. Or try not having sex with the woman at all. Try getting a relationship and getting married and having sex that way. Then you don't have to worry about it. And I don't believe in that. I believe in personal responsibility. And I think that that's a major problem in the black community. Too much blame is being placed on the females, and it's like all the blame is being placed on the females for all the children that's out of wedlock in the black community. And where's the man's responsibility? That's the question. When the Bible clearly states that the male is the head, the Bible states that the male is the head of the woman. The man is the head of the woman. So how is it that everything that's going on in the black community, the woman's fault? And the women are blamed for children out of wedlock. Well, a woman can't make a baby by herself. A woman clearly can't have a baby by herself. There's no sperm banks in the black community. So there has to be a man there to implant the seed in the woman, the sperm seed cell, so the woman can get pregnant. So it takes two people to make the baby. So it's on the man and it's on the woman. The child has two parents, mommy and daddy. So it's mommy and daddy's responsibility to take care of that child, financially, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. It is both on both parents to take care of that child. And any other theory is unacceptable, saying that, when you're a man, you have to take responsibility. And I taught both of my sons that. I taught both of my sons personal responsibility. When I found out about my granddaughter, because I told my son, before that, I said, if you get out here and you make a baby, then you got to man up. I'm not raising any deadbeats. That's what I told my son. I'm not raising any deadbeats. You're not going to abandon my grandchild. You're not going to do that. You're going to stand up, and you're going to take responsibility. Because that's not the way I raised you. I didn't bring you up to just walk away from your responsibility. And there's nothing worse than a man walking away from his responsibilities and then the blame being put on the woman. Well, how did the woman get that way? How did she get pregnant? Did she rape you? Did she beat you over the head and rape you and make you have sex with her? No, 9 times out of 10, no, that didn't happen. So I don't believe in the theory. I'm sorry, I just don't prescribe to the theory that, oh, well, it's all the woman's fault. No, because they have condoms. You know, so if a man doesn't want to have a baby, he doesn't have to. He can use protection. Or try not even having sex with the woman to begin with. So, you know, you have to take responsibility. It's not all on the woman to raise the child. It's not all on the woman to take, well, and some men argue, well, if she doesn't want to be a mother, excuse me, I have to pause this.